You see, I disagree with those people. I don't think that Israel causes any of that. I think that Israel shows an answer to that, and has shown it in the last year and a half.
Douglas K. Murray came out with a new book recently called On Death Cults and Democracies, or On Democracies and Death Cults, sorry. And he broke down in this video, what his book is about, as well as, the ideas of jihadism, facing it, immigration, suicidal empathy, all of the above. A very, very insightful video, a direct address video, directly to the people. I think he's become much more free since, including these videos and not really doing so much press, but doing it directly from his own camera and directly to the people. I think it's very powerful. Check out what he has to say.
I'm Douglas Murray. This is Direct Address. Some of you may have heard that I've got a new book coming out this week. On Democracies and Death Cults is coming out in the United States on the 8th of April and in the UK on the 10th of this month. It's going to be available on Amazon, on Audible, where you can hear me reading it myself. In the UK, it's available at Waterstones, in the US, Barnes & Noble, and anywhere else these days where you can find books to buy. But I wanted to use the opportunity today to just explain a little about what this book is about and what I hope to achieve with it. The book starts with two dates. The first is the 7th of October 2023. The second is a date that perhaps is less well known or less obvious, which is the 31st of January 1979. That was the date when the Ayatollah Khomeini, one of the most extreme, virulent, rabid advocates of a sectarian jihadist version of Shiite Islam, got on the plane where he had been living in exile in Paris and flew back to Tehran. The Islamic Revolution that followed, and the Islamic Revolutionary government that seized power, has been tormenting Iran, destroying Iran, for the decades since then. But it hasn't been happy with just destroying Iran. It's also been colonizing the whole region. It's been colonizing Iraq, it's been colonizing Syria. For those people who care about colonization, they might also notice it's been colonizing and indeed destroying the country of Lebanon. It's also been doing what it can to colonize and destroy Yemen. But I believe that the Western mind is still unfamiliar with this strain of hatred, this strain of what I describe as a death cult, something that literally worships death, welcomes death, and exalts in death. We saw a bit of that exaltation, rather too much of it, on the 7th of October 2023, and a lot of people said after that horrific massacre by Hamas, backed, of course, by the Iranian revolutionary government. A lot of people said that it had been the worst massacre of Jews since the Holocaust, and that's completely true. But I ask in the book, why is it that so few people address the other part of that question? Not just who the victims are and were, important though that is, but who the Nazis are. Who are the Nazis this time? And one of the reasons I think that we haven't been able to even address that question is because we don't want to answer it. Because if we had to answer it, we'd also have to answer the question of why these Nazis are among us, why we have so many people who support the death cults on our streets. At one of the reunions of the survivors of the Nova Party, that was the dance party that was still going on at 6:30 in the morning on the 7th of October. One of the survivors of that party, who like everyone else had just gone to the desert to dance that night, he said to me at one of the reunions, "What would you do if this happened in your country?" And I thought about that, and I didn't actually answer him, because what I had in my mind was, but it has happened in my country. And it's happened in other countries I love. In 2017, a young radical Islamist, acting on this occasion in the name of ISIS, went into the Manchester Arena at the end of an Ariana Grande concert and detonated a suicide bomb. He killed 22 people, largely young women, who'd again just gone out that night to dance. I thought also of the people in the Bataclan Theatre in Paris, who in 2015 were just spending the night at a rock concert in the centre of Paris when the death cultists stormed in. On that night in Paris, 131 people were massacred by the death cults. I also thought of the night in Orlando, Florida in 2016, when another person acting in the name of this foul ideology went into the Pulse nightclub, a gay nightclub in Orlando, Florida, and opened fire, killing 49 people who again had just gone out that night to dance. All of these atrocities were carried out by different sectarian groups, but they're all united by the same ideology as Hamas. They all glorify death, worship death, want to bring death on for themselves, but most importantly, for others. And in the 18 months since October the 7th, I've noticed that there are some people who think that Israel is somehow the cause of all this. That if Israel didn't defend itself, then, for instance, that guy in Manchester wouldn't have gone into an Ariana Grande concert with a rucksack packed filled with explosives and ball bearings. That if the State of Israel hadn't been created in 1948, somehow those gay nightclubbers in Orlando would have been able to finish their evening, or the people at the Bataclan Theatre wouldn't have been touched. I think that's flat out wrong. I think it's a deliberate attempt to avoid the real problems in our own midst.
All right, I really think you should buy his book on democracies and death cults. He has been a staunch ally of Israel and the Jewish people, and it's only fair not only to yourself, in order to gain some knowledge from the book, but also to essentially support those that are supporting us. So I'll leave a link in the description below to buy the book. He's an incredible author as well as speaker. I mean, he just wipes the floor with every pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas argument out there. And, in that clip, he definitely explained it very well. Thank you for watching and have a good one.